Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome to my piece of corner on YT. If you clicked on this video, then the title resonates with you. I'm Roxy. I share my intuitive gifts through creative expression and a curated style. If you've been on my channel, if you came across it, you can see the short videos of me just sharing. But this is brand new for me as far as just sharing my spiritual journey in a more in-depth, impromptu, raw, unedited way. And I'm really excited to share this part of me, because this is a big part of who I am and how in the space that I'm in. And like I said, if you clicked on this video, then the title resonates with you, and you are now moving away from religion into spirituality. And you're probably wondering, am I on the right path? This is all new to me. And in fact, it is in fact all new. You know, what you once were familiar with, what you once was told that this, you know, what's been passed down from your parents, your parents, and now your world has just been all shaken up, because now you're having a spiritual awakening. This walk. And what is spiritual awakening? It's just about enlightenment, a higher state of consciousness. And the Most High Source, God, however you want to call it, is now calling you to a higher awareness in your journey. And so, like I said, I am just sharing. I have me a nice cup of tea in the morning, afternoon, evening, I don't know. But this is my third video, and I'm excited to just continue, just walk you stage by stage, because I am especially if you are on a beginning, and you're in your beginning part of your journey, I'm the mirror of you, basically, of the direction where you're going, you know, being comfortable with talking openly about your spirituality, being transparent with who you are. I can remember back when I was in the beginning stages of my awakening, and I'm like, is anyone else going through the same thing that I'm going through, and so forth. And I would come across different and first of all, I tapped in first, because that is the key thing. That's what it's about right now for you, is going within. I don't care what Tom, Dick, and Harry, Susie, anybody's saying. It's about what your spiritual compass is saying to you. A lot is being revealed within right now, and it's all about tapping in. It's all about sovereignty. It's all about remembering who you are on a spiritual, on a conscious level, because the system that we have been born into, this matrix, is we have been taught and lied to for so many years. And so now the Most High is waking you up and shaking you up and say, hey, yeah, I need you to see past the illusions. I need you to remember who you are. I need you to remember that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. I need you to remember that you are God. You are, I am in you, and you are in me. And if you are God, experience the consciousness of God, experiencing this life in this 3D matrix. So it's very important for you to remember who you are. And so, yeah, like I said, welcome to my impromptu, raw, uncut, me sharing myself. I'm really excited. And so this is my third video. My first video, I was just kind of just doing an introduction. In my second video, I just dive right in, because on this particular topic about stop asking permission from spiritual leaders as regarding and just take action in regarding your life. And that was a big part of me breaking free from the religious structure. That was a big hindrance for me, because it was so many beyond the sincerity, though, because there are people within the, I would say for me, it was Christian based, sincere people who have a heart and a love for God, but then we inherited these rules and regulations, the sense of these control, trying to control people's lives, the lordship over people's lives. And that's what I am so happy that I broke free from. And so you could be experiencing that right now, whatever religious structure that you are involved in, breaking free from that. And that's a big part of breaking free from that type of dogma mindset is a big part of you now morphing into truly who you were supposed to be. Your becoming the butterfly, and transforming into the spiritual being that you are truly supposed to be, to express your authentic self and to walk in this freedomness, and a lot of it is just controlling, confined, and you're not really truly being who you authentically are. And for me, a lot of that came from the Christian structure about you have to ask for permission to do this, and if you do it that way, then that's not the will of God, and everybody is judging you and condemning you about how you do this and how you do that. And if you don't have a certain title behind your name, then what you have to say is not important because you are not on their level. But let me tell you something, some folks that they call in the church lay people is more spiritually tapped in than some of the people that's sitting in position. Yeah. So, but to start from, and the reason why I delve into that right off the rip is because that had a lot to the control had a lot to do with me not being truly and speaking openly and freely, out of the fear of being judged and condemned and not on the right path and things like that. And so now I am walking in my freedom, and I'm now speaking openly. I'm now revealing who I truly who I've always been, because I started to question the narrative and the information, the level of knowledge that the Most High has been showing me it had transcend what we've been taught. And so the more you tap in, the more downloads, the more divine messages that the Most High is going to give you, and even greater. And so it's important for you to answer the call, because you also play a part in this whole collective growth. And we need you. We need to learn from each other, because you have your part to play, and it's about awakening the collective into who we are supposed to be, and that is spiritual beings having a human experience. And so that was just important for me just to dive in right away. But I just want to go back from the beginning of my spiritual journey. I came from my spiritual foundation, I would say, or where I started, because it's enlightenment after enlightenment, growth after growth, awakening after awakening, was the Christian faith and Baptist, Pentecostal, and grew up in the church. I was a church baby. That's who I was. I was a church baby. So you could have been brought up in whatever religion that you came up in from birth, and this is just all together new, like what is really happening. But trust that you're on the right path. And I grew up in church. My mother and father, my father is a teacher. That's one of his gifts. He was getting ready to be a junior bishop in the church, and he was just a student of knowledge, and he's done so much research about specifically religion. And so he would always say, if you it has to correlate with history. You have to the scriptures, if you talk about scriptures or whatever religion, it has to correlate with history, you know, and then some of this stuff is not lining up. And then we're taught not to ask questions. This is what it is, and that's that. And if you try to go search for deeper knowledge, then you are it was never meant for you to know, because God didn't want it to be. But the truth is, because society has taught us that, because they don't want us to know the truth. So they bamboozled us to make us think that if we go searching for deeper truth, then it's all wrong, and it was never meant to be in this particular whatever book and knowledge that you're reading from. And I'm just going to specifically talk about the Bible. You know, again, all religion has some type of truth in it, but also it has false. It is based upon what was happening at that time. I'm just thinking about where it was like talking about women not being able to speak, specifically in the scriptures. Who made that up? When the Most High is speaking through and to man and woman, patriarchal mindset. So, like I said, my parents were in church, and my father was a student of knowledge, and my mother's definitely on the spiritual journey, and still is. They both are, and and so they awakened. They had a spiritual awakening. And my mom and dad would share about when the bishop would say that, you know, told the men of the church, you know, basically greater things and greater works will they do. And that's how it happens generation after generation, that we come into a greater understanding of the truth, greater knowledge, great higher level of consciousness. The frequency rises. And so that's what happened. If you can see the growth, see the change. Even back then, I remember my parents was saying that if you go off to college or try to better yourself in different ways that's outside the church, then you know you're not in the will of God. You're not on the right path and things like that. Or if you are off on a creative endeavor, or trying to, you know, get money for yourself or for your family, and it's not going into the church, and you are cursed with a curse. That's a sense of control. That's a sense of control. That is control. And so my parents faced the same thing. But you can see the dogma mindset back then. And of course, today's church or religion is not that mindset. I'm going to speak specifically just about the Christian church, because that's where that is. I'm going to speak from what I know, right? And just in general, from, you know, feel free to chime in if, you know, if something, whatever religion that you came from, how it resonates and there's similarities, you know, because we're a community. We're a tribe. We're all on this soul journey and evolving together. And sometimes you're wondering, is anybody who else is on this particular path, this particular space in my life? And I had the same thoughts, right? But I knew I was, because I went within. And then, you know, that's the beauty about social media, is that, you know, you can connect and learn from different peoples across the world that you've never met before. And it's like, wait a minute, oh, this resonates. They're like-minded. They're on the same path as me. Oh, and they can help give you insight. So, like I said, back to my parents, they experienced the same thing, but they had an awakening, and the beauty about that with them is, I don't want to go too far ahead just yet, because I want to share how just because you leave that particular religion, and I'm going to speak about the Christian faith, does not mean God is no longer with you. God is always with you. You are God. You are the consciousness of God. You are God. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. Wherever you go, God is with you. even if you are doing something that's not serving your highest good. But then again, everything does serve for your highest good, because even if you shouldn't have done whatever it is that you were doing, it still serves your highest good. You say, "Whoop, I won't do that no more," right? And now you know. So everything always serves for your highest good. And but my parents had an awakening, but God was always with us, always. I would see it in the life of my mother, because the church, where the background I came from, was, if you leave the church, you're ostracized and you're damned to hell. And that is not that is the furthest from the truth, as I will always say. And if you were you may have been guided to go to another religion, because your spiritual path is your purpose could be perhaps you sharing knowledge about how things in religion differ, or how we are kind of the same. You are bringing a different level of understanding for the collective. So you perhaps may in fact need to go to a different religion, but understand that you don't have to go to a third-party deity. As I would always say, you don't have to go to a third-party deity to have a good direct connection to source. God is within you, and to go within. But everybody's paths look different, and you may not even go into any religious structure. You're just going straight down your spiritual journey. And so with my parents, that's what my parents, I would watch, even as a young lady, that I heard the rumors about, if you don't stay on this particular structure path, then you're falling out of the will of God. But I would watch specifically my mother be blessed after blessed, and opportunities after opportunities come her way, and she was able to put her 6 children in a brand new home in the suburbs. And if that ain't God, then what do you call it? You should know them by their fruit. You should know what's happening, how the favor of God is with someone based upon their life, their fruit. And so even if you decide, or you have pivoted from a traditional belief system, then you are on the right path. Okay. What's the thought I was going to say? My mother always, kept the prayer within our families, and so in our family and everything. And another beautiful thing was that it's your spiritual gifts, and I'll go into that in another video. But I just wanted to just share the beginning of what my journey looked like, because you could have just been, you're used to this one particular belief, religion that you grew up in, and now your foundation is being shaken, and something could have triggered your awakening. Sometimes that can happen. It doesn't have to have something just terrible happen to you. You don't have to have the dark night of the soul, as what was also known. But oftentimes what can trigger an awakening is something just kind of traumatic, maybe health or loss and things like that, that will cause you to question and shake your foundation. And so if that has happened, trust that yes, spirituality, this spiritual journey is much like school. You have your primary school, middle school, high school, and college, and then you have life. That's what this is about. Is never to stay on just one level. And so of this spiritual journey, it's never to just stay on one level. And there's some people that have, and I'm gonna talk about the Christianity, like there's people that has been in the in that same church all of their life, and it's about growth. It's not, you're not supposed to be at this level. It's not, that means there's no growth. That means there's stagnation. And so there is awakening after awakening after awakening, and we have to be open and receptive to a higher knowledge of understanding. But it can be scary. It looks scary because it's like, ooh, what is this? It's unfamiliar. It feels uncomfortable. Nobody else is doing this around you. And it makes you question all what you have been taught, or all what you know. And so my parents experienced the same thing. But the beautiful part that I appreciate about my parents is that, and obviously I went into another, after the church, clearly I had went into, because that's what I knew. I stayed in the Christian faith, and I had a church home in my adult years. But there was a big gap, and I'll go into that in another video. There was a big gap before I joined a church. And much of that, my mom just maintained the relationship with the Most High, which is through prayer and communion. And that's what she continued to instill in us, because at the end of the day, it's about having a relationship with the Most High. It's about having a relationship with yourself. And my parents did not force us to say, hey, you need to get back in church. They understood that everybody, you have your own path to take, and I can't tell you which path to take, because our spiritual walk looks different, and you may need to go here because you need to acquire, because your soul your soul needs that particular knowledge or that particular experience. So yeah. So anyway, that's just the gist that I want to share right now in this video. We're a tribe, we're a community. I open in the comments section. Share your experience there, where there's any similarities in your upbringing and everything. And if you are in this space of brand newness, or if you're just watching the video because you're you're way ahead on your spiritual walk, but you just get it. If you know, then thank you. If you stayed to the end of this video, I'm glad you stayed. And something I said to you resonate with you. And so, like I said, this is real impromptu, just sharing. I don't want to get caught up into all this and everything, because I don't want to be an overthinker. I just want to just share my heart, share my growth, and share with the collective, right? All right. Peace and love. I'll see you in the next video.